Greg, hey! How's it going, sir?
What's going on, Andre?
Oh, not too much. You?
Going great. Have a seat.
Oh, perfect. Thanks. How you been?
I'm well.
Oh, it's good. Finally get some nice weather out there.
I have.
Oh, it's good. Did you finally get all the winter stuff put away and been able to get it on the course yet?
Yep. Everything's good, man.
Oh, it's good.
Played last week.
Oh, yeah? Did you play with the kids or with your boys? Or?
Played with the kids.
Yeah? Oh, it's good. Has your league started up yet or no?
Nah, not yet.
Yeah, a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Are your kids playing in the high school league now too? They got that up.
One of my sons is, and they're having a qualifying next week.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yep.
good. So they're all just practicing now,
Yep.
getting ready. Oh, that's great. So did they steal the balls on you, or were you able to use them yourself?
I used them myself, but I lost them first hole.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It must have been a water trap. You didn't switch the balls.
I did not switch the balls.
Oh, well, you know what?
That's what you told me.
It's all good. Some people do, so I always bring, especially on the second call. And we know
Right.
we only give you a sleeve, and you had some kids
Yep.
there, so there you go. That'll fill your bag up and all the kids too.
I
So
appreciate that. That's very
hopefully
nice of you.
keep them busy too, because you
Yep.
know now that you're coming home with a sleeve, they're going to steal more than just one or two balls out of your
Well,
bag.
it's going to be in my bag. They're going to have to get into my trunk to get into my bag.
Yeah,
So-
well, hey, I know you said that your one son, I don't think I got his name, but he was around 16, so he must be starting to drive soon too, so.
Just about.
Yeah, so once he gets the keys, you'll have to find a new hiding spot for all
I
your
know
clubs.
it. I know it.
Oh, that's good. So I know that we have our CAS, our Chem-Aqua Services guys here to do the cooling tower. Were you able to go up and take a look?
I did not. John told me about it. I just hadn't had time.
Yep.
But he said you guys did a really great job.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was talking with John. I was here to make sure. I always like making sure that the guys are coming up on time, cleaning everything up after themselves, making sure we're leaving it actually nicer than what we came into.
Right.
So, yeah, John did say we seemed to do a really good job. He was actually impressed we got away as much as we could too.
Yep.
So he didn't think we were going to get everything off. So, so
no.
that's great. So I've actually got a picture too that I can show you once during our slide there. So that's good that everything went well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything from our survey.
Okay.
Show you kind of how everything looked, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Awesome. I'll just scoot over here.
Okay.
Can you see the screen okay?
I can.
Perfect. So, as a quick review, I know last time we were talking, we gave a little bit of the company story, so you know a little bit about us, and we got the tower cleaning done. So, our main review now is to make sure that we're dealing with your scale, your corrosion, your microbiological growth. So, the three main things that we look after. And also try to show you a way that we can increase your efficiency, both in your fuel and your water costs, and trying to make sure that we're using your water efficiently as well. So again, this is a picture of your cooling tower there. I'm sure you remember that, and probably never want to see it again.
I do not.
So again, with this, we're obviously causing a little bit of microbiological growth possibility, and we're doing a lot of insulation, so we're using a lot more energy than needed. So that's a picture actually that we took out of the report, so then we could show you just how clean it looked. So
looks great.
Yeah, now seeing that, I'm sure you know why John was ranting and raving about the Chem-Aqua Services. So so with that, again, like we talked about before, we were saying that we were going to include follow tower cleanings in the proposal, making sure that we were cleaning it spring and fall. Obviously, we're going to continue with our proposal to treat everything below the water line, but we still want to make sure mechanically that we're cleaning the top that we can't treat in the water. So is that still something that you see definitely a need now to keep in the proposal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So yeah, so we've included that, and we'll make sure that we talk about that when we're doing the survey.
Okay.
So again, we'll stick with the tower, the microbiological growth. So that's all that green algae and stuff there. So like I said, it causes higher energy costs because we're having to go through a lot more stuff to heat the water. So it's actually just like scale and corrosion. I don't know how much you know about the scaling of a tower, of a boiler. Anything that you have on top of the water, it's acting like an insulator, just like insulation in your house. So microbiological growth, or biofilm, is actually 4 times more insulating than scale. So it's robbing a lot more of that heat transfer. So by dealing with this, we're going to save you a lot more energy. So with that, we know that we already decided on the mini wave for your controller, and we're getting you 3 new pumps, and then the reason for the 2 extra pumps that you don't already have would be for a dual biocide.
Okay.
So right now, John was just shock feeding with a bleach, throwing some in, and we're actually going to talk about that in the report as well. So with using a dual biocide, it's just like as if you have a headache. You never want to use just an Advil or just a Tylenol. You want to alternate so that it works quickly and it makes sure that you're not getting used to one medication.
Right.
Same thing with a biocide. You want to make sure that you're going in and shocking it and getting everything off the top like a flamethrower, and then still having something else that's going to sit in there a little bit longer and kill whatever's left in there. So we use both to make sure, and the controller is set up to where everything's digital now. No throwing something in, no guys having to touch any of the chemicals or stuff like that. We alternate it, so every day one's going in, the next day a different one, and same along the line, so we're making sure we're feeding it really well. So does that make sense to include too? Perfect.
Yep.
So the next thing is where we're going to get into your cost savings. So the biggest thing that we want to talk about. So I don't know how much you know about cycles of concentration, but it's pretty much how much we're going to use the water.
Okay.
So the more that we can use the water, the more money we're going to save by not draining it down the drain pretty much, and we're not wasting that heat that we're using and we're treating. So right now, based on both Nocturnal and ours, so this is a report that they have. This is part of our smart software. We printed it out. It'd be the same idea of what we're emailing to you. But we're running at 980. Cooling tower here is 990, so pretty much negligible. We're running about the same. So we're both seeing the same things here. So the way that we measure cycles of concentration is all based on your makeup, what we're starting with. So your makeup water that's going into the tower is at 330. So cycles of concentration is, like I said, how many times we're using it. So you divide your tower, what we have, to what we started from, we got 3 cycles. So we can very easily get to 5 cycles with your water and still be on a very even keel. We don't have to worry about that water being used too much to where we're at risk of something happening in the system. Because a lot of times when you use the water too much, there's too much suspended solids that are in it. So all the stuff that comes in your normal water, it just multiplies. We're still keeping it there until we bleed it off.
Okay.
So the chemical level can keep it at bay, keep it all in the solution, and it's not creating scale that we want to try and avoid.
Okay.
So by going up to 5 cycles, we're actually cutting the bleed water that we're bleeding down the drain in half.
Okay.
So instead of bleeding off, in this example, this is another one of our customers' examples, 10,800 gallons that we're bleeding off a day, which means that they're using 32,000 a day. Going up to 5 cycles, we're cutting that in half. So by cutting that in half, number one, we're saving every day 5,000 gallons that you now need to pay for, as well as 5,000 gallons that you need to pay for in your surcharge. Because I'm pretty sure, based on the numbers you gave us, you're also paying for surcharge for your sewer discharge.
Right.
So with that, again, this customer was saving from $35,000 all the way down to $29,000 in their water costs. So they were saving $6,000, and we have your numbers here as well.
Okay.
So like I said, with this, we're also going to save on your inhibitor cost. Because by the chemicals staying in here, and we're only losing 5,000 gallons instead of 10,000 gallons, it's 5 less thousand gallons we need to treat every day.
Right.
So it means your chemical usage is going to go down too, which is good. So we can save you on both ends. So again, like I said, by increasing it, we're going to maintain a really good level in the system and then work on the chemicals. So this, again, this is all making sense, cycles concentration, perfect. So it's something that, again, we're going to include in the program. So right here, like I said, is your ROI.
Okay.
So this year, we went based on your electricity cost, the chiller, your makeup cost, your water cost, and your surcharge for your sewage. So down here at the bottom, your makeup water that we're saving based on going from 3 cycles, your current, to our proposed 5 cycles, you're going to be saving $8,700 a year.
Wow.
And that's something that's certain. It's not we don't like talking about the microbiological, what we took out of the system, because it's something where we can't measure exactly how much was there, might not be even throughout the whole system, and we didn't open up your chiller either, but that's where the main savings is going to be. If we see that same biological film in the chiller, then we can give you an ROI based on that, but let's just talk about what we can be certain about. So with the makeup water, it's $8,700, and then with your sewer surcharge, so all that water that we're dumping out of the tower, you're saving another $10,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty much $18,000 that we're saving, which is, again, it's an exact number because we can actually meter read it. It's something that we can tell for sure. So I'm sure you could use $18,000 extra in your budget, so that's good. So again, now how we're going to solve both these problems is the equipment that we've already talked about that you know needs to be changed. So just wanted to review it again. There's a picture of what we have there in your system. Again, you already knew it was outdated. You knew you wanted to change it, which is great.
Yeah.
So by doing that, this is what we're going to pretty much come out with. So you've already got a whiteboard mounted on the wall.
Yeah.
We can mount this whiteboard right onto it. So you've got the MiniWave there, system that you already chose, which is a great decision for only having 1 tower. And you said that you weren't looking to upgrade anytime soon to a 2nd tower, so we didn't need the MegaWave. You've got your 3 pumps already mounted, and everything's already plumbed in for the injectors. So it's all put right in place. You don't have injectors running all over the place into your piping where there might be some dissimilar metals. Everything's right here, and we can just plumb in, you're in and you're out, so very easy for a plumber to come in and plumb it in, so. Still like the idea of the new controls and everything, so perfect. So now getting into your closed loop. So there was corrosion in your system. So again, we're going to use these two FSRs right here, or these two reports. So we'll start with nocturnals. They've seen 15 ppm of iron and 3 ppm of copper. So that's really high. On our report as well, 14 ppm of iron, 2.9 of copper. So we're both seeing the same kind of thing here. It's not like one of us is seeing something differently than the other.
Right.
We actually have a control range on here of pretty much 0 and 0. We'd like to see next to none in the system at all. So by seeing this here, there's obviously an issue. So we look further into the report and we see nitrite levels. So your inhibitor, what's going to keep all that from happening, keep all the corrosion from happening. They're only seeing 290, and then they turn around and said in their report, chilled loop has adequate treatment present, but the nitrite is lower than last visit. So he knows it's slowly coming down. He sees that it's getting eaten away. So with having high levels of iron and copper, that's actually robbing that inhibitor. It's actually pretty much eating it away, and it's constantly lowering it. So every time he's adding it, it's getting lowered. So another thing too, our second page here, our report is actually showing 600 to 1,000. So that's a company standard. I've got a case study here that I'm going to leave with you to back up our findings, showing that chilled loops we like to see 600 to 1,000, and the heating loops, which you don't have, but it's 800 to 1,200. It usually eats a little bit more. So he's got 300 to 600. Again, different company. We just try and run with the standards. So so again, 320, that's extremely low for us. So two things with that: we know that the inhibitor is low, so we need to bring that inhibitor level up, and we also want to try and get rid of the iron and copper in the system. So we know that corrosion can damage system metals, and obviously if we're corroding, it means that pipes are going to have to be replaced. So a corrective action for us is to ensure the proper amount of chemical, which is simply adding the chemical into the system, but also to filter out the system. So the best way to get rid of iron and copper, there's two ways. One's really expensive and time consuming, and one's a little easier to do. So the first option, we don't try and recommend it because it is a lot of work for you guys, and then all the money we just saved in your water is kind of going to go bye-bye because we want to try and get rid of everything. So by doing that, we drain the system, drain it out completely. With doing that, then you need to fill up all the water back up again. But it is a good way to mediate it quickly, gets rid of all the iron and copper in there. It won't get any of the dead legs or any of the low points because it's hard to drain it at the lowest point. A lot of times the pumps aren't there, or there's just nowhere to drain it. So there's still going to be some in there, and you still need to do some filtering after the fact. But that's one way of doing it. Or another way, because you don't currently filter it at all, is putting on a filtration system. So we can either put in an inline filter or actually do a pot feeder filter, which John upstairs thought would be a great idea because the pot feeder was leaking. He's saying it wasn't really being used. Your last guy, he said that might be why he didn't put inhibitor in every time, because every time he put it in, he'd have to watch it, make sure it didn't leak. And so he said probably the best way of doing it for John would be to get a new pot feeder with the filter housing right installed in it. So we're getting 2 for 1. So this will slowly over time. First couple days, he's probably going to have to change the filters quite a bit because there's a lot in there. But then after that, it would be on like a PM schedule. So just make sure you check. And when we install it too, we usually recommend a pressure gauge on either side of the pot feeder, just so then we can actually tell to make sure the flow. As soon as the flow starts dropping off, we know the filter's clogged, we know it needs to be changed. So it's an easy way for him to check it too, just even a visual. So he can walk by, and if he just quickly glance at, oh, I'm going to call Andre and let him know it needs to be changed. So does that sound like something too that you'd like to include to make sure that we're getting the filtration in the new pot feeder?
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, perfect. So I included it because I figured as much, but I just wanted to make sure that we were both on the same page. So perfect. So again, like I said, the paper reporting, that was a big issue for you. You wanted to get rid of that because a lot of times you're not getting anything nicely read. I know this one here, he sent you a nice printed copy, but everything that we do both. We do carbon copies because some people like it left in the mechanical room just for a record. But the paper reporting for us, you get this no matter what. That's something where we give you a full record of it, and then again, now that I've got the full thing printed off for you, I'll show you. There's a bunch of red numbers here that I'm sure you noticed already. So pretty much what that is it means that there's a problem. There's something going on that we want to look at. So on our report, we can't go any further once we put in a red number. We have to explain why the number is red. So there's a point for every single issue. So total alkalinity is low. total alkalinity is 96, and we're saying it's supposed to be 400 to 450. So it's giving us a reason and telling us that there's a problem.
Okay.
So obviously we want to try and get rid of all the
Sure.
red numbers for you, so then this page isn't even going to exist. And another thing too, because I know you said communication sometimes was a little bit of an issue. You
Yeah.
weren't sure if he was around or talking to John. So normally at the end of all of our FSRs, when we're in doing a survey or doing a service call, we make sure that we get the customer and we sign off on it every time. So we can't also finish it until we get signatures. So when John's there, we quickly see John, say, hey John, you know what, this is what I found. Go through the issues and how we're going to correct it.
Right.
We correct it and then we both sign off on it. So when you get the report, when John gets a report, when I see it, we have both the signatures, so we know it's done. So. Perfect. So that's pretty much all of our findings. Like I said, these are the two documents that I'm going to leave you. Talking about the cycles of concentration, we already talked about it. I know you know quite a bit about it, but we like leaving some bulletins with you just to confirm what we're saying, some more evidence, as well as with the closed systems, talking about the filtration and making sure that we're keeping the proper levels of inhibitor in there. So
thank you so much.
Perfect. So in summary, we talked about the cooling tower, the Chem-Aqua services, going through the cleaning, making sure that everything is squeaky clean in there, and I'm glad that you and John are both happy with the work that they did. And we're going to include further treatments or further cleanings in our proposal. We talked about putting in the new controller and the new pumps into the proposal as well, and feeding the dual biocide to make sure we're dealing with the microbiological growth and that issue as well. We talked about your closed loop, getting a new pot feeder on there, starting to filter it, and getting the right inhibitor level in there as well. And then we also quickly touched on the paperless reporting that we already knew was an issue. Was there anything that I missed that else that you had issues with or that you wanted to
No, I think you covered everything.
Yeah, perfect. So with all that then, so with the proposal, we were going to be coming in around $26,000 for the proposal.
Okay.
At that price, is there any reason why you wouldn't be doing business with Chem-Aqua or why we couldn't get our proposal signed today?
So it's a little high.
No. Do you know roughly what you're paying right now?
Yeah, we're paying $16,500.
Okay. So again, there is quite a bit of difference there, obviously. We are including the pumps, the chemicals. We're also including right in that price all of the tower cleanings. And again, with that, we did show you how we could save you an actual dollar amount of $18,000, both in your water usage and your sewer discharge. So there's definitely going to be a little added value there that we're offering for this first contract over the next couple of years. But after that, again, once you own the equipment after the first agreement, that price is going to come down for further years, and then there's going to be more savings in your pocket. So at the $16,000 you're paying right now, you're not saving that $18,000. So that added together is actually $34,000 that you're not paying, but you're not quite keeping in your pocket or in your budget.
Okay.
So by saving that $18,000, now our program is actually coming a little closer to $7,000. Obviously, you're still putting out the $25,000, but we're going to try and put that $18,000 back into your pocket. So,
Okay.
Does that seem to make sense?
I think it does. I appreciate that. I mean, it's a big decision. I just need to really just take some time and sit down and talk to John.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's definitely a big decision. Yeah, it's definitely a big decision making a change to a new vendor and trying to make a switch for sure. What else would you need to think about with John? Because I know John, after talking, he seemed pretty on board with all the things that we were going over anyways with the new treatment and all the equipment that was needed. What else do you need to think about, or what else can I help you with if I've missed something?
Well, you know, how long have you been in this business?
I've been in this business about a year.
About a year.
Yeah, so not very long, but definitely had a lot of help with coming in here. I had my boss making sure that everything was good too, and kind of going over everything. We wanted to make sure we dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's, because we want to give you the best program that you need, as well as making sure on our end we're not missing anything. So. Right,
and clearly you've looked at everything that we've got going on, and some of it's my fault. Kind of fell asleep at the wheel, and you know.
Yep, and for sure, there's definitely, we never like knocking our competitors. Right. I'm sure that Nocturnal, being that he has everything written here and the service reports are the same, I'm sure he's brought up some of these issues before. And he might not have had the ability that we do to throw in a lot of the equipment into our contracts. He might have brought it to you and said that he needed a PO. So that's something where at Chem-Aqua, we try and make sure that we help our customers out as best as we can, so that it's spread out, because we all understand that capital is very hard to get in this day and age, so we try and spread it out for you to save you a little bit of money and,
Right.
and still give you what you need to have a very efficient program. So.
All right. I guess the question becomes, I know this is probably not big to you, but last time we did this, transition was horrible, and you've been in this business a year. You know, I'm a little uncomfortable with the time frame that you've been in this business.
Yep.
And again, transition, we had an issue. So I just need to think about that.
Yep. No, I can definitely appreciate that, and whenever we give our proposals, we always have a time frame, or we call it a transition plan, because we know that customers, we never want to have a downtime. We always want to make sure that we're offering a good program for you, but if we're costing you money, even in the short term, we're not doing our job. We're actually causing more harm than good. So we come in with our proposal with a full transition plan, when we're going to be putting the equipment in, what we need to do, what we ask you and John to do to help us out, because a lot of the plumbing needs to be done and stuff like that, just the basic hook in and hook out. But we come in with a transition plan. We make sure that everything is laid out, so that if there is ever a time where we need, say, 4 hours or 6 hours of a downtime, just like for cleaning the cooling tower, we put that in place already in our transition plan to make sure that not only we're being held accountable for what we're saying we're going to be doing, but also so then there's planning involved. It's not something where it's going to be unexpected, and we make sure we're hitting all the I's and dotting all the T's, and really making sure that we're presenting what we're offering.
Right.
And also, I know I'm new in the industry. I'm farthest thing from experience, like other sales reps, and like I'm sure Nocturnal, because he's been in here a long time.
Yeah.
But we have a great support staff as well. We have a full engineering team at our office, and we actually have 7 guys in our area that are all helping each other out and all working together. And my boss, who is also going to be fully involved, we make sure that everybody sees kind of what's going on, and we bounce ideas off each other, because that's the only way that we can make sure we get the best program. He's been in the industry over 30 years. So he's got lots of experience. He helped me work on your specific proposal, because I am new and I want to make sure that I'm giving everything that we say we are too. Making sure that maybe there is a better idea than what I thought of. So there's a lot of brainstorming involved, and it's not one person working on it, it's a team. And just like with our relationship, it's going to be a team as well. If there's something that you see as an issue or something that you want as a new idea, we always take a look at it and see if we can put it into your program. So.
Okay. Do me a favor, put together the transition plan. If you can get me a couple of referrals,
Yep,
that'd
for
be
sure.
great.
Yep. No, we definitely have a lot of companies in town that also use us, and a variety as well. We don't just deal with industrial accounts. We deal with a lot of residential, and so residential, hospitals, different things. So we try and pool all of our ideas, because everybody's a little different. But we will definitely get with our transition plan in our proposal, we'll definitely make sure that we have some referrals. So with that, when I come back with the proposal, with our references and also the transition plan in place, is there any other reason that you see why you couldn't sign with Chem-Aqua at the price that we're at?
No.
No? Perfect. So when I come back, do I just need a proposal for you, or, okay, perfect, and hopefully I know John's probably already told you lots about what's going on.
He has.
Would you like him to be involved in the meeting too?
He doesn't need to. He keeps me.
He keeps you pretty informed?
Yeah,
okay, perfect. So I'm in town again next Tuesday and Wednesday. Does either one of those Tuesday? Morning or afternoon?
Morning.
Morning? Perfect.
Yeah.
How about we'll say 8 a.m. and I'll bring you coffee.
That'll work.
Perfect, sounds good.
All right, man.
Thank you.